Prince Harry was provided with official royal security throughout his life because of his seniority within the royal family. New reports obtained by Canadian media have shown the Duke of Sussex costed taxpayers over $250,000 with his frequent visits to the country in the early stages of his relationship with Meghan Markle. CBC News reporter Elizabeth Thompson reported that Meghan was escorted by Scotland Yard police bodyguard at the Invictus Games opening ceremony in 2017, with Canadian taxpayers bearing the heavy costs. Ms. Thompson said, "Prince Harry has usually for his entire life been surrounded by security, and when he has visited Canada, the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, works with the British security to make sure that he stays safe in Canada, but it's cost a lot more than Canadians realise." The documents that were released to CBC News under Access to Information show that between January 2016 and February 2020, it cost more than $334,000 to sub in an additional cost for the RCMP to supply security for him, and that's above and beyond the salaries of the officers who were assigned to protect him. She continued, "Now a lot of people might think that the most expensive period when they spent that Christmas in Canada, and they were thinking of stepping back and maybe living in Canada part-time. But in fact, the most expensive period was the period that you mentioned, it was 2017-2018. He had a week-long period where he was doing official engagements with the Invictus Games that he founded. He also appeared at We Day and gave out some Duke of Edinburgh awards and things like that, but it was also the period where he had started seriously dating Meghan Markle, who was living in Toronto while she was filming the show Suits. So the paparazzi who started hanging out around Meghan Markle's house when it became known that they were sort of dating, they used to see like 6 big black SUVs on this little suburban residential street that she lived on, and in those SUVs were British security but also RCMP. During the Invictus Games opening ceremony, Meghan Markle attended the event alongside her now husband Prince Harry and her best friend Marcus Anderson. Meghan was safeguarded by a royalty protection squad officer who could be seen standing in a stairwell. However, Meghan, who was not yet engaged to Prince Harry and a commoner, was not entitled to taxpayer-funded RCMP. Prince Harry TMS visits between April 2017 to March 2018 cost taxpayers $182,430. The cost did not cover police officers' salaries but money for overtime work and their travel expenses. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex with baby Archie moved to Canada in 2020. They were provided security by RCMP, which cost taxpayers approximately $33,000 a month. Assistant Commissioner, Commanding Officer Coup Copyright Beck Division, RCMP, Pierre-Yves Bourdieu, said that the RCMP has to consider the danger/threats and provide them with protection ahead of any VIP visiting Canada. He said, "They still have a responsibility, because what if something would happen to that very important person in our country? The ripple effect could have a negative reflection on our country and how, seriously, we are taking the security of these types of individuals that are enjoying the hospitality of our country." Prince Harry and Meghan announced their exit from the royal family on January 18, 2020, and stepped down as active royal members were scraped of their security by the firm. Mirror's royal editor Russell Myers claimed the Duke of Sussex, who quit royal duties with Meghan Markle last year for a new life in California, has hurt family members with recent outbursts. Mr. Myers made the comments after Harry waded into the cash for honours row surrounding Prince Charles's charity. Mr. Myers told the Mirror, "The Prince of Wales is caught between a rock and a hard place on how to deal with his son after so many recent and often hurtful outbursts towards the rest of his family." For while Prince Charles, according to those close to him, still loves and cares deeply for Prince Harry, there is a certain unease at how frequently and with such ease he seems to wade into his family TMS affairs. The family he upped sticks and left behind, if you recall. The latest souring of relations between father and son seems to stem from Harry attempting to claim he raised concerns about a Saudi tycoon at the center of a probe into sizable donations to Charles' TMS charity. This is at odds with Charles, or any of his closest advisors, who appear to have no knowledge of Harry ever mentioning anything of the sort. The Harry that presents himself in public, or through his vastly expensive lawyers, is quite different from the one who still engages with his father. The danger is he will run out of a number of already dwindling allies in his own family if he doesn't see the hurt he is causing to others who have maintained a dignified silence. Mr. Meyer's comments come after Harry denied involvement in Cash for Honour's claims and said he severed ties with a Saudi billionaire donor to the Prince of Wales charity 6 years ago. A spokesperson for the Duke said Harry expressed his concerns about Mahfouz marry Mubarak bin Mahfouz, who it is claimed was promised a knighthood and residency in the UK while donating to the Prince's Foundation, in 2015. Harry is living in Montecito with Meghan after the couple stepped back as working royals in March 2020. Harry said Charles stopped taking his calls and cut him off financially after Megxit. And weeks later in a podcast appearance, the Duke appeared to suggest Charles, the Queen and the late Prince Philip had all failed as parents. Harry said he wanted to break the cycle of genetic pain and suffering for the sake of his own children. He said of Charles, "He's treated me the way he was treated, so how can I change that for my own kids?" Harry has returned to Britain twice, since Megxit, once for the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral in April and again for the unveiling of a Princess Diana statue in July. Prince Harry is slightly more popular than his wife, the survey suggests. The Duke of Sussex's favourability is at 39%, while 54% have an unfavourable view of him. Harry's brother Prince William is the second most popular royal after the Queen, according to the poll, with Kate just behind in third place. The poll of 1,730 adults in Britain was carried out from November 23, 24. The Sussex's popularity has however increased since YouGov's last survey in August. Harry's favourability is up 5 points in November from 34% 3 months earlier. The Sussexes quit royal duties in March 2020 for a new life in California. Harry and Meghan stepped back as working royals in exchange for personal and financial freedom. The couple are now living in a mansion in Montecito with their 2-year-old son Archie and daughter Lily, who was born in June. Their new careers across the pond include lucrative deals with Netflix and Spotify. And Harry recently spoke out on quitting jobs, after he left his own role as a senior working royal. Speaking in a Q&A with Fast Company as Chief Impact Officer for professional coaching and mental health firm BetterUp, he said, "I've actually discovered recently, courtesy of a chat with BetterUp Science Board member, Adam Grant, that a lot of the job resignations you mention aren't all bad. In fact, it is a sign that with self-awareness comes the need for change. Many people around the world have been stuck in jobs that didn't bring them joy, and now they're putting their mental health and happiness first. This is something to be celebrated." Among the topics he discussed, Harry touched upon job resignations and burnout. The Duke said these issues were brought to the forefront of people's minds by COVID but have been brewing for quite some time. Harry believes we are in the midst of a mental health awakening, with people finally paying attention to how important mental fitness in the workplace is. In fact, it is a sign that with self-awareness comes the need for change. Many people around the world have been stuck in jobs that didn't bring them joy, and now they putting their mental health and happiness first. This is something to be celebrated. BetterUp, a company providing mental health services and coaching to individuals and businesses, announced in March Harry had joined its ranks. The Duke, who has been an advocate for mental well-being for years and has opened up about his own struggles in the past, has a wide-ranging role as Chief Impact Officer, with his duties including public advocacy when it comes to mental health, philanthropy, product strategy and advising the company how to deploy capital raised through its commitment to pledge 1%, an initiative that encourages companies to donate 1% of staff time, profit or equity to charity. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex were appointed in 2019 as President and Vice President of this organisation, which supports young leaders across the Commonwealth. They relinquished their roles in February after they communicated to Her Majesty they did not intend to resume their full-time roles as senior members of the firm. It is not clear whether this collaboration with BetterUp took place before or after Harry and Meghan stepped down. Speaking about the partnership with the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, Harry said, "In the spirit of creating real and lasting impact, BetterUp will continue to focus on proactively building mental fitness into various communities in the areas of education and employability training, to name two. We know the impact of our mission on a global scale. We saw it, for example, in our partnership with the Queen TMS Commonwealth Trust earlier this year, when young leaders across the Commonwealth gained tools for resilience and mental fitness that will be with them for life, and will help them to accelerate their impact on the world, by making their ideas a reality." This marked the third time Prince Harry appeared in Fast Company over the past 16 months. In the first two articles, the Duke of Sussex spoke mostly about his efforts to reform social media platforms. Harry's job at BetterUp is just one of the many roles he has taken on after he quit as a senior royal at the end of March 2020. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have since also become TV and audio producers for Netflix and Spotify, as well as impact partners at sustainable investing fintech firm Ethic. The Duke was also one of the commissioners who took part in the Aspen Commission on Information Disorder to work on a report on tackling misinformation and disinformation in technology, media, and social media. Despite stepping down as working royals, Meghan and Harry haven't left their charity work behind. In late 2020 they launched the Archewell Foundation, and they continue to collaborate with a number of organizations they created themselves, such as Invictus Games and Centibale, or tied links with when they were still working royals, including SmartWorks.